But first up tonight, we are forced yet again to consider the ways and means of Telstra, that large, friendly, public service corporation that we all know is acting in the best interests of the Australian people.
Telstra, an iconic Australian telecommunications giant, which according to its latest Olympic advertising campaign, is bringing Australians together. However, it seems when it comes to its own staff, togetherness isn't such a great idea. With 2/3 of its employees already on individual contracts, this week leaked documents revealed that the telco has secretly been planning to scrap the remaining EBA, which is due to expire next month.
This is the secret Telstra document that is revealed in this morning's press. This document shows that Telstra has had a secret agenda since February to divide and conquer its workforce, to seek to reduce the wages and the protections that Telstra employees have had.
The secret documents show that Telstra wants to slice and dice its company into small groups and attempt to roll out a so-called employee collective agreement. What it is, it's just another form of AWAs. There is no negotiation with employees. Maybe Telstra negotiates with itself, or how much pay rise. Will we give the pay rise equivalent to what Sol got? Oh no, I don't think so. Let's work out ourselves and provide it to employees as a take it or leave it.
Telstra is trying to have a non-union, non-negotiated EA with small groups of staff, could be as small as 5, could be 50, could be 100, and basically they are setting it up with two parts, a Part A and a Part B. They're saying Part A is for the current staff, and we'll look after your current conditions, because I know they won't get a vote for it if they don't look after those. So you'll get the basics. You'll have a pay increase that's less than CPI, but if you run harder, we'll give you a top-up of your pay. That's for the current employees. Part B will be for new employees who will get a lower rates of pay and coming off the street. And for people who want to come off their AWA, their individual contract, they will go to Part B to go back to the award. And Part B will be, in fact, just like their old AWA conditions. It will be a collective AWA. So they'll have no guaranteed pay increases, and all the other things that go along with AWAs will be built into this so-called collective agreement.
Even worse, if the employees don't take it, the documents show that they will be punished by having a 1-year pay freeze. I mean, this is absolutely outrageous.
In addition to the proposed agreements, the ACTU and CEPU are less than impressed with the deceptive manner in which Telstra has hidden its intentions from its employees.
I think they'll be angry that they've been deceived by Telstra's HR section, who have been telling them absolute opposite messages to this.
They never were serious about negotiating collectively and respecting the rights of the employees to be represented.
Telstra unilaterally cut off those negotiations, and we now know that back as far as February they had an intention to do that. So they were never actually acting in an honest way with the unions. We have been.
Unions attempted to say to Telstra, will you respect your employees' right to be represented and bargain collectively? Will you move away from work choices AWAs? So we proposed a constructive relationship agreement where they agree to allow people by choice to move off the AWAs, which they've been locked into to 2012, and they start respecting the rights of workers to be represented and to bargain collectively. Telstra said, oh, we can't do that because our employees would have to vote on it. We said, no worries, let's go to a vote of all employees now. They didn't respond to that. Secondly, we said to them, they said, oh, we can't do this. This is a breach of the construction code, that hangover of work choices, which we hope will soon be gone. We said, well, look, if there's a problem, let's come up with a new agreement. So we created the Memorandum of Understanding and said, let's go to the department together and get this checked that it is code compliant. We went with some minor amendments to the Memorandum of Understanding. It's been found to be legal. So all excuses out of the way for Telstra. So what were they really doing? And the evidence from the secret documents today show that this was a smokescreen.
Corporate executives today, many of them live in a fool's paradise. They believe that if you run a dictatorship and you crack the whip and you don't cop any opposition and you don't have to take into account the staff's views, then somehow you can squeeze more out of the lemon. And actually it's just the opposite. It's counterproductive, and you would think with some common sense they should understand that. But that's how they're driving it. That's how the Telstra management is driving it.
An example of this dictatorship mentality can be found in Telstra call centres, where according to Len Cooper, there has been a reduction in customer service.
They have a set of criteria to measure performance on, and that can include how long you're on the phone call for, how many customers you're dealing with, how much you're actually selling in a given period. The problem with employers like Telstra is they treat performance management as a disciplinary tool. You either meet these targets or you're out. Now, often someone can be labelled a poor performer because they spend a lot of time giving excellent customer service. And the employers, although publicly their PR will say different things, but privately they say you shouldn't give that gold-plated service. You're too slow. Historically, the Telstra workers have chosen to be union and organised collectively, and the fact is that they, because they're in the front line of customer service, they know what it requires for better customer service, and they, through their union, are trying to achieve that.
Despite AWAs being outlawed since the last election, most of WorkChoices still remains, and legislation for its complete removal will not be put to Parliament until the end of the year. However, unions believe that companies should not be rushing through workplace agreements to take advantage of the current laws.
Telstra rolled out AWAs after the last election, after the people had voted. They rolled out AWAs and said to employees, take it or leave it, and sign them up till 2012. They are now trying to sneak in with these non-union agreements, non-negotiated agreements, before the change of law to require good faith bargaining. They've also said that those on AWAs locked into 2012, not only will they not respect their right to come off them, but they may carry them on after 2012.
Companies like Telstra need to recognise that the environment has changed, that the Australian people last November decisively rejected work choices, and they need to think about what they'll do in the future now, not take a short-term position which is still based in a mentality that was determined by work choices. They haven't really moved on. It's about time they moved on.
But that message doesn't seem to be getting through to employers, with Rio Tinto and Cochlear announcing similar plans to implement non-union collective agreements since Telstra's announcement.
There's a pattern of behaviour developing by some major companies. They are trying to, in Rio Tinto's case and others, trying to manipulate the electorate and have a small group vote where they believe the most vulnerable groups to vote and bring in place a collective agreement for up to 5 years. And what the companies are really doing, some of these companies, is finding a way yet again to avoid bargaining in good faith, respecting the fundamental human right of employees to act collectively and be represented. And they're doing that by rolling out these take it or leave it agreements and trying to lock people in for many, many years before the laws change. Essentially what the companies are doing is finding a way to carry on their AWA strategy before the new laws come into place.
I think the appropriate role for the federal government at this stage is to move as quickly as it can to put in place a new industrial legislation and to urge all companies, including Telstra, to actually live in the real world.
In the end, the workers in Telstra have to be the ones that fight for a better deal. There's no one can do that for them. That's their responsibility, and possibly Telstra is going to push them down that road. Shortly, the old EBA expires on September the 5th, and then under the law, the workers in Telstra have a right to take protected industrial action.
It would seem that Telstra is bringing Australians together after all.